I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my creative healing course is filled with hours of exclusive content. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And today we're going to be talking about I accidentally ignored my ex. Is it possible, Margaret?
Well, we'll have to hear the story.
Yes.
On the face of it doesn't sound possible.
Well,
I believe you.
Yes, I'll tell you what, I think many times, if somebody says, I didn't mean to do it, well, they're just not being accountable.
Right.
Owning up to the situation. But we have an interesting story here, and this is why I thought, you know what, I'm going to share this one today, because this is from an email that I got from somebody. Because we always talk about not ignoring your ex. Now, oftentimes, an ex doesn't reach out to you for months, right. And there tends to be a long period of time where you hear from them, and then they do like an indirect, direct approach. I've had several of those just this past week, some interesting ones. And so, especially in those situations, you don't want to ignore that person. Now, you don't have to necessarily reply right away. You can take your time. After all, they've decided to take their time from having you in their life. But you don't want to ignore them, because if you do, they may not reach out again.
Right? Oh, right, yeah.
Now, sometimes you're in a situation where an ex is breadcrumbing you, and it's a little bit different about, if they're repeatedly messaging you, and ignoring them, that might get to a point where you have to say, look, call me if you change your mind.
Yeah, and call me if you have something to say.
Yeah.
I'm not just chit-chatting.
But for the most part, what we see is that it does take your ex to take a while to get back with you. And we don't want you to ignore them in those situations, right? But let me get into this email because it was really interesting. They said, "Hello, Coach Craig. I am reaching out to you to share my breakup story with you. I had a Skype with you last year in November of 2019. You provided excellent advice. Initially, I'm not going to lie, I was devastated over my breakup, but I shift my energy and my focus onto my personal improvement goals.
Good job, Craig.
Little by little, I started going to the gym, eating healthy. I kept watching your videos, which helped me every day. In total, I lost 55 pounds.
Wow.
Which I'm happy to share. That's awesome. My ex broke up with me in early October of 2019. Surprisingly, he reached out to me for the first time in January of 2020 via email. This is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets really interesting, okay? To an old email that I hardly ever used or check. So his email stayed in the inbox unread.
Oh.
So he reached out to her about 3 months later. She didn't know because she didn't ever go into that email.
Right.
Then my ex reached out again for the second time in April of 2020 to the same old email address.
Okay.
So he thought he had been ignored.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Between this time, I received a message stating I needed to authenticate my email account. If not, I was going to lose my email address. So I did in July of 2020. And definitely, you guessed correctly, my ex emailed me the third time on my birthday, which was August of 2020.
Wow.
So in her particular situation, she didn't realize she was ignoring him, but he wound up reaching out
really
3 times.
Well, God bless him, he's serious.
My heart stopped. Time froze around me. I was shocked.
Of course.
I couldn't believe my eyes to see his name pop up in my email inbox. He was wishing me a happy birthday. I replied thanking him and not overreacting with emotion. And he replied back, wow, finally I get a reply back after months of being ignored.
Oh, that's what he thought.
So he thought he had been ignored all that time,
Wow.
but he reached out 3 times
Yes, he
in
did.
under a year.
Yes, he did.
So, ever since August, we've been communicating. We met twice in person. We had lunch once and dinner the other date. We had the conversation of what happens next. We both decided to take it slow, day by day, and time will tell. The chemistry obviously still there. He's very sweet. We text practically every day and talk every other day.
That's a lot of contact.
I'm going to get to that. I just wanted to share my story with you and thank you to keep up the amazing work you guys do. I know I take advantage of all your videos. Take care, stay safe, and say hi to Margaret. She's so sweet. Oh. Hi, Margaret.
Thank you, Craig.
Okay, so great story. Love to see that the accidental ignoring wound up paying off for her, although I do have concerns. Okay, and that is the first thing that I thought when I read this, is that she is going too fast and too much with this texting.
Yes, I agree.
And, you know, one of the things that is so hard about reattracting an ex and getting an ex back is you start to learn all these things in the breakup and when we come up with a plan, but the minute your ex comes back around again, you kind of do whatever you want and you forget the strategies that we had in place, the plan that you had in place. And you can't. You have got to stick to it. You should know that you shouldn't have this much texting and contact. You want to see him in person to turn this
That's
around.
right. Yeah, and she said they had agreed to take it slow. This is not slow.
No, it's not. And if you don't get this turned around, it's going to be over faster than you realize. And that, for me, is very frustrating
Because
to see.
the thing we see so often is when it has an instant beginning and you get close all of a sudden, 3 or 4 months later, somebody gets uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to stick to the plan when your ex comes back around again. I cannot stress this enough. You guys, one of the big things that I consider when you say, what are my chances of getting an ex back when we talk? And I tell you, this is what you have to do. This is your plan. You have to stick to it. That means you stick to it while you're in contact with your ex. You don't just think about the plan and then they come back in your life and you just throw it out the window.
Right.
Because you're going to decrease the chances of turning things around.
And as you say, it won't work. It's moving too fast.
Yeah. You now think about it. They started contact in August, and we're almost at the end of November. So in August, September, October, November, 4 months, 3 months, depending roughly.
Yeah.
They've only gone out twice, but they're still talking almost every day,
It's not what you wanna
texting
do.
every day.
It's not what you want to do.
You're gonna hurt your chances here.
Yeah.
You say, let's get together, or you wait till he sets up a date. Because I promise you, if you had allowed him to set dates with you instead of he's getting all of this communication, make him work for it on a date. You would have seen him more than twice, I think, if you had make him say, no, I want to see you in person.
Yep.
He's less likely to initiate an actual date because he's getting all the info he wants.
Yes. And all the sense of closeness that he wants. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I would definitely dial it back with this texting and the calling. You want to see me? Let me know when.
Right.
Tell him. If you want to see me and you want to talk, I would love to see you. Tell me when you're available. Let me know when you want to go out.
And she's probably nervous about putting a stop to that because she thinks the relationship is fragile because, I understand. But you can't let this happen.
Yeah, ultimately, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot and it's going to be over as fast as it starts because you really want to rebuild the attraction together. And it seems like because this breakup happened roughly a year ago, you probably forgot all of the skills and strategies that we discussed in the call, or, and you just got so overexcited by your ex coming back.
Which we can certainly understand. Now, do we know why they broke up?
We don't, other than what they said, because obviously she didn't include too much about that, other than, where the story kind of unfolded since the breakup. So I don't remember the details of why they broke up. But I can tell you that what she said here really stood out to me too. When she saw the message, my heart stopped, time froze around me.
Wow, that's a pretty heavy duty response.
And that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Okay? So I want you to realize that even though you feel like your ex is never going to reach out, when that time happens, in that moment, you'll probably feel close to this. Your heart will stop, time freezes, you may shake, you get so much anxiety you can't believe it. You're going to get overwhelmed. It's a very overwhelming feeling. And you've got to remember to stick to the plan that we have in place, that we've talked about in your situation. Otherwise, you just throw all that out the window, and that's going to decrease your chances.
The other thing is, many times people get into a relationship and one party is very comfortable with a whole lot of contact, and the other party may not be. So you need to think too about, this works fine for me, but it might not be working all that well for the other party.
Yeah. I just hate to see these things happen because, it would, I think, go much smoother if you were seeing each other and focusing on attracting each other in person and decreasing the amount of communication in that space between it.
Now, it's possible that COVID may have.
I had considered that, and I had talked about that actually with Coach Victoria, because I shared this one before when we were talking about filming. And the thing is that she didn't mention it, and she did mention that they were seeing each other twice. So I don't get a sense that COVID is a part of this situation, but it could be.
Yeah.
But
in person is always better.
Yeah. And the other thing that I really liked about this is explaining what she felt in that moment.
Yes.
And also sticking to the plan when it happens. When you reach out to your ex, you're going to get a lot of anxiety, and it almost makes you kind of forget a bunch of stuff.
Sure.
But that's why you want to have notes. That's why you want to think about, like if you did a call with me or Margaret and you took notes down, to stick to it the best that you can, because that's going to seriously increase the chances of turning it around. Right?
I always say don't get too excited. That's rule number one.
It's hard not to.
Yeah. What do you say?
Well, no, I agree. It's hard not to, but
it's hard not to.
You got to realize that you have a plan. Like if you're a baseball player and you know that a pitcher is going to throw a certain sequence or likely to throw you a certain pitch, you want to be ready for that pitch and stick to the plan. And know, okay, he may throw this pitch that I'm not good at hitting, and when it comes, I'm not going to swing. Right?
So you have to have a plan.
And you want to stick to it in the moment. And it's not easy to do, but you got to do it. It's going to increase your chances by tenfold. Right? All right.
Absolutely.
So hopefully this was helpful to you guys, and it makes you think about when the time comes, what it's going to be like, and how to handle it from there. Okay? Of course, when you want to get our help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Margaret is available for Skype coaching.
If you feel that I can be helpful, please sign up.
Just click on Margaret on the top of the website to do that. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.